I want to give my review on a show that I recently watched called Ready to Love. And this is a dating show on the OWN network, or a matchmaking show on the OWN network. And I saw previews of this show before it actually started airing. And I was thinking, okay, this is another matchmaking show. It's going to be boring, yada, yada, yada. I don't want to watch it. But, I decided to watch it anyway. So just a recap of the show, or overview of the show. It's a matchmaking show. It's a dating show. By Will Packer, and is hosted or moderated by Nephew Tommy. And on this show, they have a group of women and a group of men who are in Atlanta who are looking for love. And so the first episode I watched, they had maybe 10 to 13 women, 10 to 13 men, and they had to mix and mingle with each other. And at the end of the first episode, the women were voting off 3 to 5 men. They talked to all the men, they mingled with all the men, and then they came together to decide who they wanted to vote off of the show. So they voted off a few of the men. And so on the next episode, I think it was, or next couple of episodes, it was the tables turned. It was the men's time to vote off some of the women. So they, mixed and mingled, went out on dates with the women, just to get a feel for them and talk to them and see if they really liked them. And, they went on one-on-one dates. And then later in the show, Nephew Tommy had them to go on group dates. Like each man had to go on a date with, I think, 4 of the women at the same time. And, just different fun things that they did on the date. And at the end of it all, Nephew Tommy came back and asked the men, okay, who do you want to vote off? How was your date? What did you think of each of the women? Who would you vote off? And yada, yada, yada. But in the midst of it all, in the midst of these questions, Nephew Tommy said, I noticed that some of you guys have led the women on. You're not interested in these women, but somehow you left the women feeling like there was still hope that you would pick them to ultimately be with. And the men, they really didn't see it. They were like, no, I didn't lead anybody on. I never told them, that they were one of my choices. But Nephew Tommy said, but did you tell them they wasn't? And, by what you said, was it clear that they would not be one of your choices? It gave the men something to think about. Nephew Tommy really pointed out to them that, hey, you really, whether you know it or not, you actually led the women on. You actually gave these women hope in thinking that they may be one of your choices. That point alone showed me that, reiterated the fact that men and women view things differently. Men and women really see things in a different way. Men may think, hey, I'm not leading her on, but the vibe and what the men actually does not say makes that woman believe that, hey, there is hope for us. So first point is, men, be clear to the women about what you want and whether or not you're actually interested in them. And then, so after that, Nephew Tommy told them, okay, look, whichever woman that you're not interested in, you have to take them out again, tell them that you're not interested in them, and tell them why. And the men were like, oh my God. One of the men said, that's not how men are. Men, will ignore call after call after call in hopes that, hey, she'll finally get the hint that I'm not interested in, and just leave that woman basically dangling. But women want closure. And so that's another thing that showed me that, women want closure, but men look at it in a different way. Men say, hey, if I just ignore her, she'll get the picture. And men, honestly, that's not necessarily so. That may happen with some women, but it seems like for the majority of the women, that is not so. So please, second point, men, please be clear as to, if you are not interested, if you no longer want to date or see a woman, be clear and honest about it. Now, she might not take it so well, but it's best in the long run that you're clear, you're upfront, and you're honest with that woman and say, hey, I don't want to deal with you anymore. And if she, keeps calling, at least you have the consolation of knowing, hey, I told her, this is on her now. You didn't give her any miscommunication. And so, you know, that's just, and that was one of the things that I really, or actually two of the things that I really love about this show that's going to keep me watching. Like I said, you know, at first I wasn't going to watch the show because I thought it was just another matchmaking show, another dating show. But actually, you know, just in these first 2 or 3 episodes, it has pointed out some very good instances or very good points in which we can look at, both men and women, we can look at and see, hey, you know, we need to do things differently when it comes to dating. So that's one reason I'm going to keep watching the show. And I encourage you, if you haven't seen Ready to Love on the OWN network, I can't remember what day it comes on, but research it and find it out. Find what the airing time is in your area. And I encourage you to watch this show. If you're interested in dating, if you're looking for love, if you have questions, quote unquote, about dating or how men and women think, I think this show is really going to point out some interesting points regarding dating and how men and women think and how differently men and women think. So shout out to Will Packard on this show. Shout out to Nephew Tommy for moderating and hosting this show. And to everyone that is on this show looking for love, I pray that you find the mate that you are looking for. No, the mate that God wants to bless you with. So again, this is just my review, my opinion on the show Ready to Love on OWN network. It's a dating show. It's a matchmaking show. And I really believe that it can be beneficial to those people who are dating or who are looking for love, who are interested in how men and women view things differently. So God bless you. That's my review. You know, this is nothing solid. Again, this is my opinion, and I encourage you to watch the show. Kudos to Nephew Tommy, kudos to Will Packard, and kudos to everyone who has the courage to get on TV and say, hey, I'm looking for love, and putting, you know, your characteristics out in the eyes of millions. God bless you.